a flamboyance of flamingos, a smack of jellyfish, a murder of crows. English collective nouns for animals are bizarre, poetic, and frankly, a little bit weird. And today we're going to explore them. These expressions have been around for centuries, and even native speakers don't always know them. So if they're confusing for you, then you're in very good company. We're going to look at where they came from, why they exist, and some of the strangest examples in the language. There's also a short quiz to test yourself, and as always, a dictation at the end. So have a pen and paper ready. Grab a cup of tea and let's get into it. And if you find this useful, hit subscribe. There's a new episode every week. Group names for animals. So you may wonder why English has such bizarre and poetic names for groups of animals, like everybody knows, a murder of crows. A murder of crows. Okay, what a strange and wonderful poetic name for a group of those big black sinister birds. A parliament of owls. A parliament of owls. How wonderful is that? So these unusual collective nouns are often met with confusion and curiosity by English learners. Unlike many other languages, which tend to use practical or generic terms like a group or a herd, English developed these expressions mostly as a result of medieval hunting traditions. Okay, so in the 15th century, so we're going back to the 1400s, aristocrats used these fancy collective nouns to show off their education and their wit. And so really a lot of them were jokes, but they've stuck around. And you'll find a lot of these even in ancient books like the Book of St. Albans in 1486, where lots of these words that we're going to see today are listed for the first time. And so although most people nowadays don't use these in everyday speech, they're just this quirky, unusual, colourful part of the English language. They're humorous, they reflect certain human attitudes towards the animals, and they're a great way to add a bit of flavour and flair to your English. Most English people, British people, don't use these and don't know them all. Okay, but you'll find them listed at the back of a proper English dictionary, and they're great fun to read. So, if you're ready, let's begin. So first of all, here are some examples. Now, I don't know if you know what these animals are. The badger. A badger is a black and white mammal that lives in the countryside. They often use the hair to make shaving brushes. But I'm not sure what they call it in your country. But this word here is a set of badgers. In fact, a set is also the name of the place where it lives, the hole in the ground, a badger's set. Cobras, well, I've never seen more than one, I've never seen any cobras, to be honest with you. But if you ever see a group of them, apparently they're known as a quiver of cobras. So to quiver means to shake. A quiver of cobras. What a ridiculous thing. A raft of otters. A raft of otters. Otters, again, mammals, but this time they live in water. They're very cute, long with a flappy tail. And they're called a raft of otters. A bale of turtles. A rumba of rattlesnakes. Now that's cool. A rumba of rattlesnakes. A colony or a warren of rabbits. Again, the warren is also the name of the place where rabbits live. So the same with the badgers. A fever of stingrays. I mean, most of these are new to me. I had no idea until I researched them. A descent of woodpeckers. A descent of woodpeckers. Woodpeckers, that bird that goes on the tree and goes. Grrr. You know the guy. You know the guy. A muster of peacocks and a dray of squirrels. So you couldn't guess these, and you're never going to use them, but they're quite interesting nevertheless. What do you think? Why do we say a school of fish? I'm not sure. We also say a shoal of fish. So maybe it comes from that. Maybe it's just a shoal of fish. Maybe it's from the same etymology. Not sure. So anyway, I thought I prepared a little quiz for you. No cheating. You can just guess, and I'm going to show you some animals, and you tell me which you think is the correct um, collective term. Okay, it's just for a bit of fun. And we start off with a group of flamingos. What is a group of flamingos known as? Is it a shimmer? Is it a flamboyance? Is it a strut? Or is it a swirl? Hmm, penguins. Oh, not penguins. Sorry. I got them mixed up. Yeah, de- definitely not a biologist, am I? Okay, everybody seems to be going for flamboyance. And that is the correct answer. A flamboyance of uh, of flamingos. How wonderful. A flamboyance of flamingos. Okay, let's go on to the next one. A group of foxes. Is it a den, a skulk, a snare, or a leap? Hmm. So we've got a mixed bag here. Some people are going for a leap. Leap means to jump. Um, okay, well, the correct answer is a skulk of foxes. And I think if you don't know what skulk means, then you weren't following my mum's have a word with Dot because she talked about skulk as a verb recently. Can you remember what it means? If not, go and check it in her have a word with Dot on the community. Okay, the den, by the way, is where a fox lives. Okay, in this case, it's a different word. So den, a fox's den, and skulk is the group. Next one, a group of giraffes. Is it a reach, a height, a tower, or a stack? A group of giraffes. Okay, we've got again a bit of a mixture here. Some people are saying a stack, some are saying a tower, some are saying, okay, well, the answer is a tower. A tower of giraffes. Isn't that wonderful? It's perfect for giraffes. A tower of giraffes. The leaning tower of giraffes. Yeah. Okay, next one. What's a group of porcupines called? You know porcupines, it's that animal with the big spines sticking out of its back. A prickle, a cluster, a thorn, or a hobble? Well, a hobble. A prickle, a cluster, a thorn, or a hobble? Hmm. Hmm. Okay, I've got a few guesses in there. Mine is trying to do the psychological approach. Thorn, it sounds too obvious. They wouldn't be called that. It's too obvious. So what do you think it is? Hmm. Well, the answer is a prickle. Yes, a prickle of porcupines. That's wonderful as well, isn't it? A prickle of porcupines. It's perfect alliteration. Okay, next one. A group of jellyfish. Is it a float, a smack, a slap, or a bloom of jellyfish? God, that's difficult, isn't it? They all sound good. Oh, we've got bloom, smack, float. If I had to guess, I probably would have said a float, but it's not a float, I'm afraid. The answer is a smack of jellyfish. A smack. A smack of jellyfish. It's crazy, isn't it? There doesn't seem to be any logic to it in this case. A smack of jellyfish. Okay. Oops, sorry. That's the dictation. Okay, so that's your little quiz. And I think we can get ready for the dictation now. How about that? So go and get your pen and paper, and I'm going to read a short 100-word text about collective names for animals. So if you haven't done one of these dictations before, where have you been? But anyway, I'm going to read some sentences, a couple of paragraphs. I want you to listen and write what you hear, not you, Maria, because you're driving. Okay. I don't want to be responsible for you getting a pen stuck up your nose at the traffic lights, or indeed at the roundabout or anywhere. So only write if it's possible. And I'll read everything. It's not particularly difficult this week. Okay. I like to vary it a bit so that everybody can enjoy it. Okay. Maria's back home, everybody. So we're lucky. So you can take part. Pen and paper. I'll read every sentence twice. Then I'll read the whole text again at normal speed. And then I'll show you the text. Okay. No need to write anything in the comments. We'll start in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Let's do it. English has some wonderfully curious names. English has some wonderfully curious names for groups of animals. For groups of animals. Full stop. While a herd of antelope while a herd of antelope while a herd of antelope or a colony of bees or a colony of bees may sound familiar may sound familiar, comma. Others are far more obscure. Others are far more obscure. Full stop. For instance, comma, a murder of crows. For instance, comma, a murder of crows. Comma, a parliament of a parliament of owls. A parliament of owls. Comma, or a prickle of porcupines. Or a prickle of porcupines. Are not only real, are not only real, but delightfully imaginative. But delightfully imaginative. Full stop. New paragraph. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. Comma. And if you ever spot a gathering of jellyfish, comma, you've encountered a smack. You've encountered a smack. Full stop. Even rabbits live in a warren. Even rabbits live in a warren. Or colony. Full stop. These collective nouns are rich, in imagery, comma, and knowing them adds charm and nuance to your vocabulary. Full stop. Okay, that's the end of the dictation. Little easier this week. I'll just give you a few seconds to relax your wrists and your brains and your ears. And then I'm going to read the whole text again for you to fill in any gaps that you might have. Okay, so English has some wonderfully curious names for groups of animals. While a herd of antelope or a colony of bees may sound familiar, others are far more obscure. For instance, a murder of crows, a parliament of owls, or a prickle of porcupines are not only real, but delightfully imaginative. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance, and if you ever spot a gathering of jellyfish, you've encountered a smack. Even rabbits live in a warren or colony. These collective nouns are rich in imagery, and knowing them adds charm and nuance to your vocabulary. Okay, so before I show you the text, how did you get on? You can give me marks out of 10 for how easy or difficult it was. Hang on, that's not very clear instructions, is it? Okay, so 1 is easy and 10 is difficult. Sorry, that was so unclear. I do apologise. Just tell me however you want to tell me. All right, okay. All right. So some people tending towards the easy, some a little bit more difficult. Mm-hmm. Okay, well let's check the spelling then. I'll show you the text. So this is what you should have. Okay, English has some wonderfully curious names for groups of animals. While a herd of antelope or a colony of bees may sound familiar, others are far more obscure. For instance, a murder of crows, a parliament of owls, or a prickle of porcupines are not only real, but delightfully imaginative. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance, and if you ever spot a gathering of jellyfish, you've encountered a smack. Even rabbits live in a warren or colony. These collective nouns are rich in imagery, and knowing them adds charm and nuance to your vocabulary. There you go. So, any problems? Any spelling problems or any new words for you? Feel free to ask. I'm here to help. Okay, spelling, says Maria. Yeah, well, just keep practicing. That's all I can say. Didn't catch ads at the end. Ah. Ah. Melanie, are you a pirate? Ah. Um, Mina said just one mistake, flamboyant instead of flamboyance. Ah, okay. Melanie said porcupines. Porcupines, yeah, they're animals with spines on their back. They're similar to hedgehogs. It's not the same. They're much. In fact, they're much bigger than hedgehogs. But the hedgehogs are little, tiny little things like this. Of course, if they're small, I have to say it with that voice. New words for Patricia. Oh, Mina knows they're not the same animal. I do apologise. They're like hedgehogs for adults. That's my stupid definition. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's how it works. That's how the brain is. It's fine for these things, but it's not much good in everyday life. That's the problem. Yeah. Anyway, so I heard of antelope. No, antelope. One antelope, two antelope. I know it's strange, isn't it? There are a few animals like that. One deer, two deer. One fish, two fish. What else have we got? One. I think even buffalo. One sheep, two sheep. One buffalo, two buffalo. Two buffaloes. See, I would say two buffaloes, but I'm sure they say a herd of buffalo rather than buffaloes. Anyway, yeah, sheep is another good one. But goat, one goat, two goats. One sheep, two sheep. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Just a bit of fun for you and maybe interesting as well. It brings us to the end of today's episode. So thanks for joining me for a cup of tea with John. Until next time, keep learning, keep smiling, keep participating. Take care. Have a lovely evening and goodbye.